Little wonder that those lopsided polls continue to show that President Bush's approval ratings are down in the 30-plus percentage ratings. I don't trust those polls anyway, mainly because they are based on small numbers and are drawn from regions that are mighty suspicious. However, I don't want to dwell on polls or surveys. They're not reliable and shouldn't receive the attention they get from the news media. Instead, I want to hone in on some mighty peculiar tactics exercised by the reporters, editors, and particularly the columnists and editorialists in the nation's press. Let me take one example in particular. It is related to the number one topic of interest in the U.S. today, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. For the moment, let's take the case of the reporting, the selection of the news, and the manner in which the news, or lack of news, from Iraq is delivered. In recent weeks, America's generals in Iraq have been reporting that the number of deaths of both our troops and Iraqi citizens has dropped dramatically, and that many dissidents who once sided with the insurgents have now moved to the Allied side and have become enemies of the Al-Qaeda forces. Now, that is truly dramatic news and clear evidence that President Bush's resort to sending more troops to Iraq in a surge movement has been paying dividends and is bound to hasten the day that Iraqi democracy, our gift to them, is taking hold, and that the withdrawal of U.S. and allied troops from Iraq has drawn nearer. Rarely has that news received page one play in America's newspapers or the lead spot on most TV and radio news broadcasts. Instead, one clearly prejudiced TV reporter, properly castigated by Rush Limbaugh, stated that there was no news from Iraq because the death count had fallen drastically. Indeed, no news? It was the best news yet from the Iraqi front. Other reports by news syndicates in newspapers and some TV radio newscasts went this way, and I paraphrase it. American generals in Iraq say the death rate is down somewhat this month. But of course, the death rate of military forces and civilians remains higher this year than in any previous year. You see, that's the manipulation of propagandists, not honest reporters, columnists, and broadcasters. The hate Bush contingent is so strongly entrenched in the news media that its reporters, editorialists, and announcers refuse to acknowledge good news when it presents itself. These are the same people who have been blaming President Bush for everything from the Katrina hurricane death toll and the Southern California wildfires to the events over which he has no control in Turkey and Pakistan. In my 55 years of service in the print and broadcast news media, I have never seen such flagrant prejudice and hatred leveled at a president in particular, and the conservatives and Republicans in general. I'm hoping that history will eventually tell the truth about President Bush's efforts and America's role in bringing democracy and freedom to countries that suffered so long under theocratic or military tyranny, countries like Iraq and Afghanistan.